not for the lucky warriors, the winner at Waterloo, or him of a newer name, whom loud-voiced triumphs acclaim victor against the few. Not for these, O air, I build in my heart today the lay of your sons and you. I call to your mind today, out of the mists of the past, many a hull and many a mast, black in the bight of the bay, over against Ben Adair and the lip of the ebbing tideway all, red with the life of the gale and Gaul, and the Danes in a headlong slaughter sent, and the women of Ayr keening for Brian slain at his tent. Mother, O grey sad mother, love with the troubled eyes, for whom I marshal today a sad and splendid array, calling the lost to arise, as some queen's courtier unbidden might fetch her gems to the sun, praising the glory and glow of all that was hers to show. Ere, love Brian well, for Brian fought and he fell, but Brian fought and he won. God, that was long ago, nearer and dearer to you. Ere Maubron, listen to a name of your own, a sweet name, my sorrow, are the suns that flamed and faded in a night that had no morrow. I call to your mind red hue and the castle's broken ward. I call to your mind O'Neill and the fight at the Yellow Ford, and the ships afloat on the main, bearing O'Donnell to Spain, for the flame of his quick and leaping soul to be quenched in a venomed bowl, and the shore by the Swilly's shadows, and the earls pushed out through the foam, and O'Neill in his grave clothes lying, with the wish of his heart in Ireland, and his body cold in Rome. I call to your mind Ben Burr, and the stubborn Ulster steel, and the triumph of Owen Roe, Clonmel, and the glorious stand of the younger Hugh O'Neill, and Owen dead at Derry, and Cromwell loosed on the land. I call to your mind brave Sarsfield, and the battle in Limerick street, the mine and the shattered wall, and the battered breach held good, and William full in retreat. And at the end of all, wild geese rising on clamorous wing to follow the flight of an alien king, and the hard-won treaty broke, and the elder faith oppressed, and the blood, but not for Ireland, red upon Sarsfield's breast, ended the roll of the great and famous leaders of armies, the shining lamps of the Gael, who wrestled a while with fate, and broke the battle of foemen, ere the end left widowed Ayr, lone with her desolate wail. Lone, yet forsaken, out of no far dim past, call I the names of the lost who strove and suffered for Ayr. Saddest and nearest of all, see how they flock to the call, the troop of famous fellows who won no joy of the sword, who tasted of no reward, but the faint flushed dawn of a wan sick hope, and over whose lives there dangled ever the shame of the rope. I call to your mind Lord Edward, tone with his mangled throat, Emmet high on the gallows, O'Brien, Mitchell, and Meagher, aye, and of newer note, names that Ayr will not forget, though some have faded in far-off lands, and some have passed by the hangman's hands, and some are breathing yet. Not for these, O Ayr, not for these or thee, pipers, trumpeters, blaring loud, the throbbing drums and the colours flying, and the long-drawn muffled roar of the crowd, the voice of a human sea. Theirs it is to inherit fame of a finer grace, in the self-renewing spirit and the untamable heart, ever defeated, yet undefeated, of thy remembering race. For their names are treasured apart, and their memories green and sweet, on every hillside and every mart, in every cabin, in every street, of a land where the fail is more than to triumph, and victory less than defeat.